What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer and this is the Tokyo Marui AKX GBBR 2025 batch revisit video. Now, as always, let's stick the usual disclosures on screen and let's jump right back in. Okay, now hopefully in this video we'll get to answer all of your questions regarding the Tokyo Marui AKX GBBR. Now, I know that you've got a lot of questions, so if I don't, then please let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, please make sure that you are subscribed, you've got the like button hit, and you've turned on the notifications. Doing that really does help this channel out a huge amount, and you help me feed my family. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's answer the most important question, which is why we're doing a revisit in the first place. Well, over 2 years ago, I did an unboxing video and a review video for the Tokyo Marui AKX. And in that time, the competition has changed quite considerably. No longer have we had the straight fight between Marui, W.E and GHK. Call it Marui and GHK. Now we have VFC enter the market with the AK74. We have GHK with their 2023 V3 batch and their 2024 V3.5 batch. But also, WellPro have entered the market with their awesome AK12 and PPK20, taking inspiration, if not heavy, off the Marui system. So it's no longer just a straight fight anymore, and that basically means, can I really say that the AKX is still the king? Well, let's find out together. So, while we cut this open, like I say, I have been really excited to get one of these back again. I know you guys have been enjoying those videos for over 2 and a bit years now. And with that, hopefully this should be even better. Because that's the thing, that when I did that, my channel was just starting. So a lot has changed in that time since I did that video. And that's hopefully a good thing. Now, there are more parts available, there's more bits available for it. Wow, that's actually arrived in quite better shape than I was expecting, to be honest with you. Oh, why should they did that? JK Army. Yeah, as you can see, I got mine from JK Army because it was actually cheaper to do that than to buy it here in the UK. It was actually cheaper to buy it from them and import it and pay the import fees and so on than to buy it here in the UK. Because for the same price as the UK, you could do all that and actually get magazines with it. Hopefully they packed it. Looks like they might have. So, okay. So before we take the lid off, first thing, Tokyo Marui always seem to do one thing really, really well. The packaging. So with the packaging, you can always tell straight away, just the texturing of the box. You've got the AKA in a lovely matte there. And gloss, it's nice. So if we flip that over, we can see that here is our little booklet of little paperwork and stuff, which we'll take out. We'll have a look in a moment. We will take you. Someone's put a lot of that styrofoam everywhere. Okay, so as you can see, I got a couple of mags with mine. So we take that out. Huh. JK Army have sent me a reusable bag, which will be reused. They sent me a patch as well, which is kind of cool. And we got another extra magazine right here. Now, apart from all the polystyrene everywhere, which will happen when you ship from abroad, we have the AKX, we have the magazine, and we get a little box here, which is supposed to represent a box of ammunition, but it's not. So let's see what we get in the box first, shall we? So if we take that open, right away, you can see that Tokyo Marui do provide you with some actual Picatinny parts. Now, not every manufacturer does. If you own the BCM, for instance, they don't always give it you, depending on which length of the gun and so on. Now, you do get a tiny speed loader. I mean, that's really, really tiny. I don't know how many BBs you were expecting to put into that. That's more of a, you do get a, what looks like a split, but no one will ever use it, barrel plug. We do get a front sight post. Believe it or not, no one really gives these with their GBBRs anymore, and it's a tool that everyone needs. You get a bag of BBs and an Allen key all in here, which is really sweet. Like I say, a lot of people don't give you that front sight tool, and that's a couple of pounds on its own just to purchase one of those if you ever need to adjust your front sight. And, well, anyone who's ever done airsoft knows that, you know, you can never say never, and that's usually important. So that's that. Now your magazines. These are 35 round Marui mags, and these being the AKX ones are really nice and sleek. I do like all the markings there. Now, of course, you do have your bar, and if you've seen the Well Pro video, you can see where they took all their inspiration from. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's our magazine, and we have the lovely AKX itself. If I can clean some of that off. Like I say, you get to see it how I do. And of course, you do get your little wrap around the grip, and that's going to need a good clean down, which I will do off camera. But here you go. I mean, look at this. This thing is beautiful. I do love the modern M-LOK, and I do love the whole thing. It is just absolutely amazing. Now, if I remember rightly, the AKX is basically an AKM that's been highly modernized by Marui themselves. So that's going to be awesome. Of course, you do have your folding stock, which is nice, although it is very lightweight, and that's something we are going to be swapping out soon. You do get a 1913 rail, which it clamps onto. You do have your adjustment here for your top cover that holds it in place. There is a rear sight here. The back. And yes, you can actually take the top cover off the handguard part here, lift this latch up and take your gas tube out should you wish. This is just absolutely beautiful. And of course, with it being gas blowback, you can get rid of that out there. We don't want that in the system. That is just really nice. Oh. Okay, so what we're going to do in this video, like I say, this is going to be more of a complete video for it. I'm going to put some BBs, some gas. We're going to do a proof of function test outside at the range, and then we're going to actually test its accuracy. So we're going to do a grouping test, the Texas Star. We will do a FPS test, and we'll do a rate of fire test. And I'll get into that later on when we do it. And then, of course, we'll get back, we'll go into the internals and so on. So let's get all that done. Let's take it outside. Okay, I'm using 0.25 gram BBs and green gas, and the temperature is 22 degrees. Put that into single. So that gives us an average of 306, which is really good with 0.25 gram BBs. Let's do a full auto. And that gives us 584.5, which is not bad. Okay, I'm going to push it back to 15 meters, and we're going to test this without adjusting the hop, iron sights only. Let's see what the grouping size is out of the box. That's actually not bad with iron sights. Alright, let's test out the Texas Star. Let's take it back to the 10 meter mark and let's see what she can do. she can do brilliantly. Okay, guys. Well, holy crap. That is absolutely amazing grouping. Remember, this is just gone straight out the box, no hop adjustment, and this is what we're getting. That is unbelievable. And remember, the FPS at just over 300, what is it, 306 average, which is not bad with two 5-gram BBs. But let's take a look. So you're looking at a 2-inch grouping there. Under 2-inch there. I mean, no matter which way you're looking at it, it is a sub 2 inches, which is not bad. Now, as we saw in the first one went low, and that was me just finding where it was zeroed, and then I can basically go from there. And oh my gosh, I had the tip of the post here, and this is where I'm going. So a slight adjustment to the hop is all that's needed, and that's not bad. You saw the Texas start, it cleared it, no problems. This thing is just an absolute beast. Now, let's take a look at the internals. As you can tell, as per YouTube's T's and C's, I've gone ahead and disassembled this off camera. So let's take a good look. Now, one thing I have noticed, I don't know if the camera will pick it, but there is slight little blemishes now on this. This will wear out and clean out with polish. It's just the way it is. But that's what happens when this has been sat on a shelf with oil and so on. You can see the buildup of the grease around there on the tightening for the top cover. You can also see a little bit of the black from the painting of the handguard on the screw there. That I can easily touch up. That's not a problem. But that's not bad. Now, the receiver itself is die cast. Before anyone starts shouting at me, we already know that TM do die-cast receivers for their AKs. Is that a bad thing? No, not at all. Why is it not a bad thing? Well, whether you have steel or whether you have die-cast, it comes down to you and your preference. Tokyo Marui spend more than any other manufacturer on their R&D. And they are the only ones that, to be honest, in the last 10 years, have put out banger after banger and no issues. If you look at GHK, in 2023, they did have an issue with theirs. Their tolerances were all out of whack. The thing was bent, whatever, and it was missing parts. And so they cancelled the launch in 2023 after they've already shipped thousands of units worldwide, and then they re-released it in 2024. VFC, on the other hand, they did theirs with steel, but here on this hard shoulder here, when the bolt travels home, around here, and on the bolt carrier where it impacts there, all this part here was deformed, and it would get worse and worse over time. And as it does, it allows the bolt to travel further forward, and then you're basically impacting on the hop chamber. You were damaging the nozzle return spring, which is supposed to have that buffer. That was just being crunched out of the way all the time with it, and it would eventually fail. So Marui, making out of die cast or not, doesn't really bother when it comes to the weight as well. And the main reason is, as you can see in here, this is not the same as a real AK. It's reminiscent, it has some of the actual appearances, but it is not a part of it. But if we pull that up, you will also know on this is not like the Well-Pro where it has an extra wear here. This is one whole solid piece, which is really good. Now, if I do hit the disconnector there, we can pull that up. Your hammer is again, a aluminium hammer. The spring is steel, the selector's steel, the screws are steel in there, the pins are steel. All these are steel, which are fine. Basically, every piece on here that needs to be steel is steel. Everything that is not, the firing pin, everything there is steel. That's really good. Now, that's a good thing, because in the end, like I say, it is important that what is should be and what's not is not. And you can hit that, and that brings your firing pin back in. Now here we have our hop adjustment wheel, which actually has numbers. Again, Wellpro didn't. It had kind of like a mushy wheel, which again, it worked, but having a ratcheted little wheel there, you can see the arm that goes in and locks it in there and allows it to move. It's kind of like a pseudo ratchet, but it has numbers. You can get a more precise hop should you need to disassemble all this and replace the inner barrel, for instance, but you want the same hop. You can get it close to where you were before. Under here, we have our dry fire switch, which if I pull that up, you can see here, we just pull it across and then lift up. And to pull it down, we can easily get this out of the way, no problem. Now, as you can see there, that has a stronger return spring, and that is because when Marui designed this, this has a massive recoil. You'll have seen it in the demonstration there. It kicks, and because it kicks, well, what's happening is that will come off the shelf and reset, and then your click no bang will happen again. And that's not what we want all the time. We only want that when we want it, as they say. So when you want to dry fire it, you get 4 or 5 shots on the Wellpro and it might pop off. Again, it was dependent on the batch and the units individual. And to be honest with you, again, it's going to be up to you if that's okay with you. But to me, that was annoying. So I like that Tokyo Marui do that better in a more positive detent so it stays locked in place. So again, that's really, really good. Now, like I say, at the back here, we do have a 1913 Picatinny rail right here, and that's holding on this very polymer stock. It's very rigid, but it's extremely lightweight. What that's doing is putting more front weight up front, and that's kind of putting it off axis. So your support hand is always going to be lifting up the front all the time. If not, your wrist here gets absolutely knackered very quickly. So one way to get away is to swap the stock. We will be doing that soon, quite literally soon. And we're going to be replacing it with a ST6 skeletonized buffer tube that folds, and we're going to put a mag pull on there. We'll show you all that in a moment. But yeah, that's really cool. You do have a steel fire selector. I do like the ambi side to it, as you can see here, which allows you to select easy, and you can use your trigger finger to bump it or move it. That's nice. Like I say, I really like the Picatinny here. They got rid of the normal rear sight platform and put Picatinny with this, I would say, front trunnion block here. And then you've got your gas block here with your gas tube and everything in there, which goes all the way in. Again, you can remove all that should you wish. You just have to take this off and it lifts everything out there, and you can take the handguard off. Now this handguard is a die cast. It's where a lot of the weight is. If you want to get rid of that, you can fit any of the AK front handguards should you wish. Again, that's entirely up to you. I like this handguard. I'm going to be using it. I do have some stuff to put on there, so I'm excited to get that sorted out in a moment. Marking wise, you can see here. Let me know in the comments down below what the markings are and what they mean. I would really appreciate that. You get your M-lock symbol there, but you can see it's really good. Again, I know that's semi and full. I do like the ambi mag thing, so you can use your trigger finger to actually move that out of the way. That's really good. Again, Wellpro put one of these on their AK-12, and that was nice, but this one just feels way better. And the fit and finish of the magazines just click in really easy. You don't have to mess around. I like that idea with this, and it's something that I would have liked to have seen on the Wellpro done well, without having to wear in the mag catch or anything like that. They just fit, and that's really comfortable. The trigger is light. It's around about, if I remember rightly, it's about 2 pounds in weight. It's very nice and light. You do get a positive reset, which is nice. And everything just feels really good, and the grip itself is nice. With the Wellpro, here at the top would bend. You'd have to tighten it down with this. It's all nice and tight and rigid, which is really nice to fit. Yeah, this is just a beautiful. You do have a QD, should I say, attachment point right there, which is nice. And like I say, to fold, you just lift and fold. It is a steel pin in there, and it will lock itself in that place, although you just pull to release. And it is a texturized butt pad right here at the back. Now, let's move that out of the way, and let's move on to the bolt carrier. Now, as you'll have seen with the Wellpro AK-12, this is a 2-piece bolt carrier. Now this is set up as standard, like I say, this is not a enhanced or anything like that. Let's do a weight check while we're here. So we can turn that on, make sure it's zeroed. So we're looking at 311 grams, which is absolutely chunky. That's basically heavier than a GHK steel bulk carrier, and that's not bad. Now, of course, this has got the short little piston on there because this is a short one. But again, you can swap this out for a steel one if you wish. It is aluminium. It's machined aluminium there, which is nice. The bulk carrier is, again, a aluminium bulk carrier, as well as the bottom. Okay, there doesn't need to be any catch parts in there, but all the screws and the return spring obviously is going to be steel. But yeah, as you can see here, screws are steel. That's not bad. Now, when it comes to the buffer, this is a very manky, all oiled up, two-piece guide rod and spring. Now, a lot of people do want you to swap this spring out for 130 to just get it a faster RPM. And if that's okay by you, then fine. To me, AKs are around the 600 mark anyway. And again, once this is all worn in, it will be around the 610 to 630 rounds a minute as it wears in, but you've got to put a few rounds through it first. And yeah, all in all, this is not bad. I mean, you can see here, again, the oil spots that have been left on there that just leave stains. And all these little stains can be swapped out or cleaned off easily enough with a rag and that. I will be doing that. You do have your O-ring buffer. This is very reminiscent of what the AK-12 had, although the AK-12 was a little bit more substantial in size. But this is quite nice. I do like it. It is a steel spring and guide rod in there, so that's nice. And yeah, everything there does its job really well. You do still have a steel buffer plate right there, which is nice. You can adjust it by tightening that. It'll tighten it just to allow more felt recoil should you wish. Now, lastly, we do have the top cover. This is a two-piece top cover, as you can see. So, aluminium, aluminium, steel screws, aluminium there. Doesn't need to be any more than that. It's nice, it's substantial, and it holds itself in place. It's been designed very well to lock itself in. And of course, yes, it does have a rail on the top, and when this is in there, because of that detent screw on the receiver, it will tighten down into here. It locks it and makes sure that it returns to zero every single time. Now, my previous one, which I shot for over 6 months straight, that basically held zero, no problem. And that's something that I was really impressed with. So to see something like this is a really good idea. And of course, it's all modernized out the box, so you're not having to go and search for new top covers and things like that. So again, I do like the AKX for that. Now, obviously, let's get back to the magazine. Like I say, you do have your bar here, which you can see right there. It moves out the way and it's free moving. Unlike the AK-12, which would get stuck and require sort of like just polishing or a little bit of oil to let it work in and plenty of running, and then all here would wear in as you lock it in because it wouldn't catch perfectly. You'd have to click it and hold it with force to make it lock in. But yeah, this just basically works smoothly. It feels high quality. It doesn't feel like a cheap imitation or out like that. It just feels really, really good. Now, okay, with all that, I'm going to assemble the basics, but we are going to basically add some furniture to this. So let's clear this table off and let's get on with that. Okay, so as promised, let's get this stock off. Let's start adding some furniture to this that we want to use ourselves on this. So you can now take that off. And believe it or not, it's always good to retighten it down, just so you don't lose any of the pieces later on. But we can now take that and get that out of the way. Now, as I say, I have a 5KU ST6, I believe it is. Yep, ST6 1913 folding, so we can get that. And we can yeet you out the way. Now, this already is very similar in weight to this, and I haven't even added the stock. Now, we do need a new Allen key, so if I get my Allen key set close by, we should. Right, yep. Now, of course, one thing I will tell you is when you have everything that you want in the right place, you're going to have to make sure that these are thread locked. Because of the recoil, it will back these screws out. So just want to get that out there for you guys already. Okay. Okay, so what we do is we do the following. Okay, so this goes in here if I remember rightly, and that goes in there. Okay, so yep, that's all in there. That's now all matched up. And then we get our screw, and now we have to just make sure we know where our little gap is, which is right there. Okay. Just got to line up that Picatinny slot because it's going to slip in. There it goes. And now we can tighten this up. There we go. As you can see, that now still folds, which is great. Tighten it just enough. Right. Now with the ST6, we do have, again, we're not losing any QDs at the back. We do have this one right here. But with it being skeletonized, it does reduce. Now, what stock are we going to be putting on this thing, I hear you say? Well, believe it or not, we are actually going to put a genuine Magpul stock. So, I have my little knife here. We can, 1, 2, get that out of the way. There we go. I'm not going to eat the Magpul because I do keep the Magpul stocks. I do like that the company I bought this from likes to nick the Magpul stickers that they put in the box. I don't know why they do it, but they do it with every single one of them. You just go through every one, open them up, and then resellotape them. It's just silly. Like they have a big collection and you give them out on event days and so on at the retailer. Right, we'll throw that one though there. Right, so now we have our Magpul stock. Putting this on is quite nice and easy. We just flip that there, pull these 2 pins, and that's it. There's a slight bit of play, which is, to be honest, going to be fine. That's not an issue. We can shim that out. That's not a problem there. Okay, so I will do that once we've got that camera stop rolling. But yeah, straight away you can see that is awesome. Yes, you can still fold it. Yes, she still goes into the right place there. But it looks 10 times better already with that stock. Now, next we're going to be doing a charging handle, I believe. I got a charging handle for it. It's a bit of a chunky one. They didn't have any of the thinner ones, so gonna need my knife again. It's another 5KU one, but they had this. So I now need to make sure I get the right. Yep, there we go. Allen key. Do that screw there, so that's everything out. Now, that gets put onto here. And what we're going to do is obviously tighten it all down correctly. So with this, that'll do the front. And here we do the back. Now, what part of my inspiration for this build was quite simply, have any of you been playing Resident Evil Village lately or at all? Okay. And that's actually going to add a bit of weight to it. That looks amazing already. But we're going to swap the muzzle device out. This is 14mm CCW, just FYI. This is a CNC'd aluminium tri-muzzle device. And we're going to be putting, if you know, you know. Okay, that's on. All right, guys, what do you think? I think it looks absolutely amazing. You've got a nice enhanced charging handle, makes it easier to rack. You've got a nice Magpul proper adjustable stock to get your length of pull that you wish. A nice RMR on there, and a nice, you know what. So yeah, that is absolutely awesome. How about this? I'm going to put some thread lock on all the screws, and let's go and take it out to Halo Mill, and let's see what she's like.
You got contact?
None yet.
Copy, on your 6. Clear in that corner. Okay. Hello. Hi. Oh, heck. Oh, I'll get at least one fucking kill.
There's one on the right, it's well. Hey! Stand down! Stand by walking!
What the hell are protein? Got Spider-Man!
Step on! Step on! We through! Step on! Step on! Through!
You did well on that one.
I had 2 within there, but I couldn't pay attention to how much ammo I had left. Sorry. Friendly, sorry.
Right at the end.
You respawn. Top on your 6. Watching side. Hit. Leg on.
There's one at the very end on the right. One there on the right, that's why I'm on the corridor. Yeah, the tyres from what you can see.
Yeah, there was someone on tyres. I don't know if they've been dropped. Oh, hit.
Nice shot.
It's Jacob. Hi, Jacob. Are your spider senses tingling?
Yep.
Oh, how many times are you going to hit him?
5 minutes. 5 minutes remaining. 5 minutes.
Hey! This is Jacob.
Okay, if you've gotten this far in the video and you like what you see but you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button and notification bell so that you don't miss another video, and you really help this channel out a huge amount. And you really help me feed my family as well, which is kind of important. Okay, so now that we're back from Halo Mill, and oh my god, was that an awesome day or what? Kind of fun. But now it's time to put everything together and come to a conclusion. And to do that, we really do need to consider the 3 important pillars of any fair and honest airsoft review: build quality, performance, and support. We'll get into some other things at the end, but those are the most important. So let's start with build quality. And when it comes to the AKX, there is second to none. From the moment you pick it up, there is zero bend, wobble, flex, or creak of any type whatsoever, which really does give you that nice solid feeling when you picked it up and you feel like you've spent a couple of £100 on this thing, which is kind of good. Add to that the fit and finish of all the parts, the smoothness of the bolt carrier, and the smoothness of the magazine fit and finish. It's not like its nearest competitor, the Pro AK12, that takes hundreds of inserting the mag with full BBs in there just to wear in the catch enough so it locks. The amount of times I had the Pro AK12 and I would go into a sort of battle situation, I'd go for a quick tactical reload, I'd think it's reloaded, pull the trigger and the magazine would drop on the floor. And that's because the catch doesn't lock reliably until it's worn out the metal. And that's just poor tolerances. Now, yes, Pro can fix that with the next and subsequent releases. But right now, that is the way it is. With the AKX, you can just insert the mag, it clicks, it's audible, it's nice, positive feeling, you can hear it as it locks in, and it just feeds and shoots reliably, as you've seen in the gameplay footage and throughout this video. So, once again, second to none. Okay, so now let's move on to performance. When we talk about performance with the AKX, once again, it's second to none. The AKX has phenomenal out-of-the-box performance. A sub 2-inch grouping at 15 meters, which is absolutely amazing considering I never adjusted the hop. I just put gas and BBs into the gun and away we went. When it came to rate of fire, we get a 600 round rate of fire average, which is perfectly fine. If you want more, you can make that. We'll get into that later. But when it comes to the actual consistency of the FPS, it was a 306 average FPS with no FPS dipping below the 300 mark and none going above the 314 mark. Just averaging around the 306, which is really, really good. So, when it comes down to the final bit, which is how many rounds per magazine, 3 full mags of BBs on 1 charge of gas is really good efficiency, especially when you consider it is the exact same all year round. Now that, again, you don't get usually, whether it's VFC or GHK or even WellPro, it's really good in the summer. But come the winter, you go down to at least 1 to 1.5 magazines of BBs, depending on the gas type you use and the temperature outside, etc. You generally see it drop from 2 to 3 to down to 1 to 2. And that's just normal. But with this, you're just getting consistent, absolute, brilliant performance. Okay, so now we move on to our final category, and that is support. Now, any GBBR that is manufactured is only as good as the support that it gets from its OEM manufacturer and third-party aftermarket suppliers. If it doesn't have that support from day one, then the GBBR doesn't matter if it's as well built or shoots amazing, it's as good as dead. If it's not got the support, it just won't survive. Not in this very competitive market right now. Luckily for us, the AKX is once again second to none. That is because in total, Tokyo Marui have over 4 years of support for the AK platform, and given that this is based off of the AKM receiver with all the same internals, you have access to all that, and the third parties that have been supporting it as well with different new steel parts. You can even buy a steel receiver if you wish and just transfer all your internals into it. There is just so much you can do now with it that no other manufacturer has that level of support. Now, some people are going to say, well, what about GHK? Well, GHK have been doing it for decades now, but the problem we have is GHK have also made some important changes with the version 3.5. They introduced a new dual locking system for the barrel, which means that normal barrels just don't fit anymore, and you do need a specific version 3 barrel for it. That, as of recording this video, hasn't really come to light. There's not that many people dealing with it. When it comes to their tolerances as well, the old V2 furniture is not exactly a good fit because they have retweaked the tolerances and dimensions of the receiver to truly match the real steel. Meaning that if you can't get your hands on real steel parts, then you are going to suffer going forward, trying to get things to modernize it or customize it into your personal choice. Because that's the other thing. With support, it means different handguards, different stocks, different actual grips, different things like that, even different colored magazines, just so many little bits, different bookings, different barrels. And so you need that support. And when GHK changed all that with the new V3.5 from 2024 and VFC introduced theirs, yes, it's only a matter of time before that support grows, but we're already roughly a year into that now. And, well, it's going to take another couple of years yet for it to catch up to Marui. So right now, Marui is still the king. That's just the way it goes. Okay, so now that we agree that the AKX is basically the king still, 2 years on, it's still number one, well, let's talk a little other things to consider. Some people are going to say, well, what about price? Well, price isn't everything. You could spend £700 on a VFC AK74 and think you've got the best thing since sliced bread. But in reality, you're not spending £700. You're spending well over £1,000 by the time you've bought the handguard kit and modernized it to make the AK that you actually wanted in the first place and not what you think you wanted. Many people think, oh, I love the look of the old AKs, but then they go into the arena, they shoot it 5 seconds later, they're like, I hate it, it's absolute shit. I'm going to basically go and buy a handguard. And then you're now in this queue waiting for one that's right for you to come into stock, or buying the VFC kit, as they called it, for the modernization with a short handguard kit or the longer handguard kit. Do you choose? Now, To me, that's expensive. You're spending well over £1,000, and in the end, you do also have the wear and tear issues that the AK74 has, such as the damage to the steel receiver and the bolt carrier, as well as the nozzle return spring as well. I've known a few people now that have had theirs absolutely mangle and destroy very quickly. That's just VFC and their new system and design have not actually fixed it yet. So be aware of that. Now, when it came down to, for instance, GHK, which is £750 more here in the UK, that's a big, beautiful AKM, very realistic now. They've taken so many years to get it to this level, and 2023's absolute diabolical mess not being forgived. In 2024, when they released the 3.5, yes, it's amazing, but they made some changes both to the receivers and so on. So that means, once again, you're now paying more money to upgrade your GBBR of choice than what you actually pay out the box. So then you say, well, what about the WellPro? That's only $550. Yes, it is, but it lacks aftermarket support at this moment, and even OEM support. Trying to find actual OEM parts for the WellPro AK12 is very difficult right now, if not impossible. And because Marui parts are not exactly the same, you will need to make some modifications to just make sure that it runs smoothly. They are the things that you do need to bear in mind. So price doesn't really necessarily mean the final price of what you will pay. Whereas with the AKX, it's already modernized out the box. It's as cool as it's going to be, and you really do feel complete. It kicks hard, it runs hard, and it is very durable and reliable. Being that it is a Marui and have more than 4 years of aftermarket support, you can make it whatever you want at a very more affordable price for you. So price isn't everything, as we've now established. Now, what changes would I make to the AKX? Well, the only thing I want to do, and I will do after this video, is install a 115% spring. Spoiler alert, I installed it in my previous one 2 years ago, and I already know the figures. It basically increases your rate of fire from 600 rounds a minute to an average of 680, nearly 700. And it gives you that nice, snappy return back home without actually damaging your parts. If you see listings from manufacturers here in the UK saying 130% spring, don't do it. Unless you change the whole weight of your bolt carrier, like to a steel one from Dragon, I believe, and Ratec make one soon. But if you do that and the piston goes to a full heavy steel and weight it down, then maybe. But if you're not and you're running it with the stock bolt carrier and that, please, 115 is fine. You won't break anything, and it just gives you the performance you actually wanted. So that's the only change internally I'm going to make. The bucking and barrel are fine. Sub 2 inches is perfect accuracy for me and for anyone out there. Remember, we are firing a little round BB that is affected by air and, you know, all the pressures, humidities and everything else. So just to bear in mind. But as you can see, I've made this AK myself. It didn't cost me more than what I already had. I had lights myself. I had a hand stop myself. The only thing I bought was the ST6 buffer tube for the Picatinny mount and a genuine Magpul stock. So that was it. Outside of that, everything else I already owned. It was in my armory. So yeah, I really love the AKX. I think it's amazing, and I definitely think it is well worth your buy. Everyone I talked to at the mill when this was shooting absolutely loved it and said exactly that. From all the ones that we've been able to see, whether it's the VSC or it's WellPro or even GHK, this just beats them hands down. Now, of course, some people are saying, well, you want full travel? Well, wait for the Ratec bolt. You won't need to change anything internally. You buy the Ratec bolt and it allows you to pull the charging handle all the way back to the rear, and it will reciprocate that way as it goes. It's kind of cool, but without doing anything. It's just a bolt swap. But yeah, that's coming, and it's not that expensive. I think they were like £70 all in, which is really cheap. So keep your eye open if you want one of them. But then again, the more travel you have, the less efficient you get on your AK, the slower the rate of fire and all that. So I'm really happy with this. I really do think that this is the best gas blowback AK on the market right now. And as always, I'd love to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below. I will read them and I'll answer as many as I can. As always, I've been Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I will catch you in the next video.